guess.
I guess we could do it now. I've already gone live, but let's go for it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to That Beautiful Life podcast. This is episode 158 of That Beautiful Life podcast. My name is Khalees Campbell, sitting here all the way in Reading, the United Kingdom, sitting down in the well, yeah, as I said already, it's Reading. It's kind of cold and chilly right now. It's like, I mean, it's not supposed to be as cold at this particular point in time because, well, we're going into like springish time. It's like 6 degrees, but it being 6 degrees, it is also it's windy, and when it's windy, it's chillier than it should be. You know what I mean? You know. So like right now, it's just chilly. But as per usual, I'm talking to the beautiful Roger Bergstrom all the way in Stockholm, Sweden. Rog, how are you doing? Good sir.
Yeah, good morning. It's good morning. Yeah, it's fine. It's actually good. It is -1 degree here. It's been around -1, -2 even for the last couple of days, which has been good because we have had like sun at least 3 days in a row, which was really, really nice. However, this morning it's cloudy and it's actually snowing a bit. Yep. Yeah.
Let me look out my window. Give me a sec.
Yeah. And it says it's gonna snow also this afternoon. So look at that now. I think we're gonna get some white powder on the ground.
I'm looking out my window. There's no bloody snow. Okay, well, such is life.
Yeah.
Lame. Never have snow.
Yeah. So I don't know how much there will be, like how much it will come, but I'm okay with that. I mean, it's supposed to be, but what is supposed to be? Well, usually at this point of time, like years ago, there was actually snow on the ground. So, I mean, it's only like, what is it now? Is it the 1st of, it is the 1st of February.
Yeah.
February.
Literally have 30 days until I see my sister again.
Yeah.
I'm counting down, I guess. I'm counting down the days. You know, I can't wait to see her in her tiny person self. And she's bringing me a bunch of what do you call it? A bunch of stuff. She's like, "Oh, what do you need me to bring for you?" Like I was on the phone with her last night. I was just giving her this long ass list. I was like, "Yeah, just make sure to bring some of this and also some of that, and I need some of this other thing as well, and some of that other thing, and so yeah, I was just." I've got a long list of
yeah,
things.
I can imagine. I mean, since you haven't been over to training for such a long time, I mean, there's stuff you must be missing, right? Especially probably certain food and
99% of it is food, and the 1% is like my mom.
Oops! I hope she doesn't hear this.
Oh, my mom knows this. I spoke to her last night on the phone.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, the 1% is mom, and then 99% is food. So like, which is that 1% being mom is a huge thing because, I mean, I love food a lot. I mean, I love my mom a lot as well. Like I love my mom more than I love food, but
yeah, I hope so.
I miss the food. I guess a whole lot. More-ish at this particular point in time because I've got reasons why I put my mom at 1% at this moment. She knows.
Yeah, but I can understand. I understand what you're at least trying to say. I mean, if there's a specific like food that you are used to eat and that is so incorporated in your like maybe routines as the way you live, where you apparently live, then that was training for you before, and now you don't have that in the same way. I mean, I've never tried that, just shorter periods when I was traveling more, but not like really like moving to a completely different country and being away for years. That's a huge difference.
It is.
So I can imagine that you start to. I mean, I can just picture myself. I know exactly what I would start to what kind of list I would put up.
To be honest, I actually miss Swedish food as well. Like, ever since I had moose, I've been thinking about it.
Look at that!
I've been craving moose as well. Like in my brain, I'm just like, man,
Yeah,
I could
I
do for some moose right now.
I wonder, don't you think somewhere shouldn't there be like a deli, some kind of I don't know, some place where you could find
I don't think I want to buy moose from a shop or something.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
enjoyed having a meal at your house. Like
mm-hmm.
the way you and your family made the moose and everything like that. I don't think I could do it justice. I think I would hate to try to make moose and then ruin it for myself,
Yeah,
and
okay,
then
yeah, I understand. Hmm.
then I'm gonna be like, oh, it sucks. It's not good,
Yeah.
and then it would tarnish the memory of what good moose tastes like. So
Mm.
yeah, I would know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yes.
dare commit
Yeah,
such a
true.
crime.
Sometimes it's better to have the memory if it's a good one,
Hmm.
and not trying to duplicate or something.
Not try to ruin it for
Duplicate.
yourself
Yeah,
out there
yeah.
committing crimes against bellies. I can't do it.
That's one of the worst crimes,
Then that's it.
It is.
Horrible crime to commit.
True,
How dare
true.
you? How dare you
How,
ruin good food for the stomach? So yeah, I do miss
exactly.
moose. I talk about it all the time when I talk to people about food from Sweden. I'm like, oh, the
Oh,
moose,
you
man, the
do.
moose. Ugh,
Yeah, but
so
it's cool
good.
that I mean, a lot of, probably said that, but I guess you can also imagine that, I mean, a lot of people never get the chance to eat it, uh,
Exactly.
because it's nothing that you find in the everyday store or everything here. It's for us most of the time. It's if we've got like, from example, my relatives are some of them are hunting,
Mm-hmm.
so that might be a reason. I mean, we very seldom buy it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We bought some reindeer meat,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. But it's yeah. So it's a bit of a rarity. I mean, there are some restaurants here that you can find maybe moose on the menu, not
Mm-hmm.
that often,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, you might find it. I think it's more common also. Now I don't have numbers for this, but but I believe it's more common the more up north you go,
Mm-hmm.
because then you get into to wider areas, and there are more hunters, I would say, per capita up there,
Mm-hmm.
So probably more, yeah, I would say there's more to find there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm glad though that you had the chance that we were able to serve it, because
It
yeah,
was good. It
again,
was good. Like
yeah, it
honestly,
is, it is.
it was a new taste for me. It was something I'd never had
Yeah,
before, and
true.
especially because like moose is not like indigenous to the Caribbean, so there's no way you're
Mm.
gonna run into moose in the Caribbean at all.
No, you won't do that. You won't do
Yeah,
that.
so
As a matter of fact, it's not like there are other countries, of course, quite a few in the world, but not like all over the globe.
hmm
It's one of those animals like. You say the in this at the savannah in Africa. I mean, the lion is apparently the king of animals. At least
hmm
that's what you say, right? And
yeah,
I guess up here it's the king of the forest. Here is the moose. It's the
yeah.
biggest animal.
It's kind of
Uh,
like for TT, like there's stuff that we have there that's like indigenous to TT,
mm,
and you don't really find it in other places. Like for example, um there's this herb that you use for seasoning food and stuff like that in TT, and it's called shadow benny. And
hmm.
I can't find bloody shadow benny here in the UK. I mean, it may be possible in some places in the UK, but it's super difficult to find something like that.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
What?
so
Yeah.
certain
What
things
is
like I
it?
can't really get as readily available. There's a food that we have in TT called callaloo as well. And you make it from this bush called callaloo bush. It's sort of like spinach.
Uh-huh.
And when you make it, it comes out so good. It's just like you have it with like rice and stewed chicken and that kind of stuff.
Mm,
It
yeah.
is so, if it's made well, if someone who knows how to make callaloo, oof, it is so good. My mom makes a mean callaloo. That was one of the things I told my sister she got to bring.
Ah.
But yeah, callaloo is amazing. It's such a good
Wow.
such a delicious thing, but I can't really get it here. And I think that's the thing. It's like I guess moose is something that you can only get in places like Sweden and stuff like that. So it's good stuff. It's delicious and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm
I,
counting down the days,
yeah.
honestly.
I think the when it comes again to talking, yeah, you just getting back to the moose for a second. When you eat like wild meat, if that makes sense, like moose or here reindeer or rabbit or what's that even? Yeah, it's more to it. But I just a few examples. I mean, that kind of meat always has a different taste than if you eat like veal or like cow or whatever. It's gonna taste different because it has that specific taste of like wildness. It is a
The
bit.
taste
It
of
is different.
wildness.
Yeah, it is wildlife. I was supposed to say, but it came out different. But it's definitely so. And I might have mentioned when I grew up and my granddad was a hunter and yeah, I had moose early, of course, but also
Hmm.
rabbit. My grandma made some kind of stew with rabbit, but at that point of time, I didn't really like it. It was too like heavy in the
Hmm.
taste and everything. I started to appreciate it later when I grew up. It's like um, the first time if you're young, but you shouldn't be too young if you try to drink some wine. But when you taste wine the first time, maybe you're like, how can anyone drink this? Especially if you taste a bad wine.
Hmm.
But I guess it's a bit like that. You reckon the taste after some time and appreciate it.
Hmm.
And yeah, I like that kind of meat. To be
Hmm.
honest, it's. I know that Adam bought some reindeer not too long ago and made some food out of it. He was
Hmm.
very pleased. Yeah, so but I can understand that you have the things you described on your list when your
Hmm.
sister arrives. That's
I've
what I meant
I've
to
got
come back to the.
quite a
Yeah.
few that are just I haven't had for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
I just when she asked me what I wanted, some people sometimes you're a bit what's the word that people use, you're a bit modest, you'll be like, oh, I don't really need anything, you just bring yourself and that's all I need. No, I was like, bring this, yes, don't forget to get that other thing, yeah, I'm gonna need some of that.
Yeah, exactly. But aren't you happy to see your sister? Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
But don't
exactly.
forget that. And if you forget this, well, I'm not sure I even want to meet you.
Yeah,
So it's like
we may have to put you back on the plane and send you back. Like
exactly.
just keeping that in mind.
Did you get everything on the list?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything except okay, go back.
Exactly.
No. Yeah, but oh my God, I just got this picture of you just sending her back. That was awkward, but it's
It has to happen. It has to happen sometimes. Sometimes
hmm.
tough love is needed. Sometimes it is.
Yeah, tough love is needed. It's a good saying.
Yes, yes, yes. Sometimes
Yeah.
you just have to.
Hmm.
If it's that important, you just have to.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of important,
Yes.
how's your week been?
It's been a good week, I would say. I have continued also since last time we spoke to be quite, how do you say, productive and
Mm.
partly effective. I am still working on that to become even more effective. I think it's something that you can always look into and find ways to, save some
Mm-hmm.
time and be more effective, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been good. I've been continuing to producing music and I'm looking into some new music libraries and I have been studying a bit, if that makes sense, when it comes to orchestrating certain tracks and things like that. So I'm building myself in that sense, and also I've been doing what I usually do when it comes to like YouTube and everything. It's been rolling, if I put it like that, and I have to say the
Mm-hmm.
better weather helped when
Mm-hmm.
it went from the plus degrees to the minus, and therefore we got more clear skies. That was really nice because I've said it so many times. Me and Isaac usually takes a walk after lunch,
Mm.
and sometimes it's a bit longer, sometimes it's short, maybe just 15-20 minutes, but at least you get some fresh air and you move you move your body a bit, and get some vitamin D. Then when all of a sudden there's a sun shining in your face,
Mm.
that was like, oh, I just felt, oh, it was a great feeling. And one of those days I also heard one of the, I guess you have those. Well, it's not the same, by the way. 4 seasons here, but at least here in Sweden, there's some birds, of course, that are coming back, all the way from Africa and other places, when they know that the time has come for the spring to, at least, maybe not like full blown, because it's not here. It takes longer. We probably have to wait until like into March, but even so, they you hear certain bird song, and oh, they're back. That's
Mm.
nice. So it brings some hope, and of course also the days are longer now. I mean, um more light in the morning, early morning now, and it lasts a bit longer in the late afternoon. So that feels really, really good, to be honest.
It does. It
Um,
does feel good with the weather. Like I think last week I was saying constant. I really can't stand spring because bugs and stuff like that. But at the same
mm,
time, I am looking forward to like having some warmer weather. More sun. Some maybe some do some cycling. Like yesterday it was pretty bright and sunny yesterday. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
at one point I was just thinking to myself like, man, I should go cycling. I should take Ty to the park. I should do all these
Mm.
things. And then what did I do? I went to bed. And I picked him
Oh,
up
okay.
from school, and I was thinking to myself like, oh, I'm gonna take him to the park or something. Let me just but the thing though is I was that tired though, because the night
Yeah.
before I was awake pretty late, and
Oh.
when when I finally picked him up and got back home, I was just that knackered that
Mm.
I ended up putting on his documentary, and I just fell asleep.
Okay.
Next day he's just basically watching here in the office, and I just fell asleep. I was just that bloody tired, you know.
Yeah.
But
But can't you? I mean, I think I've told you that I take these sometimes, if needed. I take these small power naps. I can,
I usually do that as
talking
well.
about discipline, because I sleep only like 20 minutes, and then
Oh,
I get up, and then I'm
you get to
restored.
go again. I don't
Yeah,
usually do 20. Sometimes I do an hour, which I know I should be doing like 20 actually for something like that.
20,
But I
30,
uh,
more. Yeah.
usually if I'm behind on sleep, I'd have like a lunchtime nap. So like around lunch, I'll just have a nap for like an hour or something.
Mm.
Um, the problem though is that yesterday I was going so much, I was doing so much, I didn't end up doing it. Also I was actually on a call with Hans. So
Mm.
because Hans called me like super early in the morning,
Mm.
and so when I got on the call with him, I didn't even get a chance to sleep, because at one
Yeah,
point I
yeah.
was like, when we ended the call, I was just like, bro, I gotta go. Like I was 1 hour before picking up. I was like, I need to at least take an hour nap. Like I need to at
Yeah.
least rest my eyes for like 1 hour before I have to go get him.
Mm.
And obviously, because I'm just an hour before picking him up, I didn't actually sleep, because obviously if I went into a deep sleep or got into any type of sleep, I might have woken up late. So I was just like closing my eyes and just listening to a podcast and just laying there,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Okay. Resting. Mm.
Just sort of like resting it. But by the time I picked him up, I was like, look, I just, give him a documentary to watch,
Yeah.
and I just fell asleep. And yeah, I fell asleep, proper fall asleep, woke up later in the night. And I was just like, man, this is one of the reasons why I think it's so important. I think as a content creator or any kind of person who works from home, um, is to have flexible days. If you have the option to do flexible days, it's so important, because like I stream on a Monday and a Thursday. I think if I had to stream Monday to Friday straight, I think it would be so hard on me. In comparison to taking that day for like Tuesday and Wednesday, where I can actually just recharge, because streaming takes I think a lot of people don't realize just how much streaming takes out of you. But sitting there and talking on a mic and gaming at the same time or whatever
Yeah.
have you, ugh, man, that really is, it really is a lot, because
It is true. It is true. You and I have talked. I'm not sure if we talked about it in the actual podcast, but it is true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I streamed. Yeah, at least still, I'm streaming like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday. So
Mm-hmm.
I streamed like I tried to keep it around 2 hours, but I think it was like 2.5 yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna stream tonight or this evening.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the difference waking up and having a stream sort of behind me or not having a stream behind me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's quite a difference.
Yeah,
I
it
am
is.
more tired now than I would be if I wouldn't have been streaming.
That is.
And I am gonna stream like 2 days in a row. But as you and I have been talking before, I would not like to stream like every day or every like 4 or 5 days in a row. I wouldn't. No,
That's how people
it's
get
too.
burnout, essentially.
Yeah, it's a way to. I think. I mean, and of course we know that a lot of guys, especially like bigger streamers, also that have felt the pressure to actually continue to to
Mm-hmm.
keep that kind of schedule for many reasons. They do get burned out, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not worth it. I've been there. I have been burned out,
Same,
like in
same.
the 2000 early 2000s. So yeah, we got to be careful with that and everything. So it is true, as you say. I mean, I try to adjust. I have my routines.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to follow a certain schedule, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm also aware of the fact that if I need to, I can adjust that.
Mm-hmm.
But that also means that sometimes, I mean, I work on the problem though with or the backflip, maybe you could say, is of course that I do work on weekends as well.
Yeah,
Not like
that's
all the
the.
time, but I do. I mean, very often, for example, in the like after breakfast on Saturdays,
Mm-hmm.
I go up and either finish a video
Mm-hmm.
for to upload on YouTube, or I maybe do the last like mastering of a track I've been doing and start to upload to these music libraries.
Mm-hmm.
And on Sunday, I mean, if we have band rehearsal, we do that, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe before noon we clean the house or we go shopping or something, and then later in the evening I stream.
Mm-hmm.
And then also it means that when I wake up on Monday, I mean, yeah,
It's. I remember when we had podcasts on Mondays, and
yes,
it always felt worse. Like I always felt worse if like
yeah,
you, because Sunday's usually the day when I would join you on a stream. I
yeah,
always felt physically worse whenever I would stream with you the day before, and then jump on Monday,
record,
or
yeah,
I'll do HBMP podcast on a Sunday,
mm,
and then come on Monday, because HBMP is it's even worse with HBMP because it finishes really late, because the guys on
exactly,
HBMP they're in like the US, so time zone
yeah,
wise,
time so,
man, we finish like when it's I look at the times like 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, bloody hell. And it's one of the reasons like sometimes when we finish, we wrap up. Sometimes I just like stay on the call with them because I'm just like, it's already early in the morning anyway. I might as well just stay awake and just go straight into the next day. And then take a nap after.
mm,
But it was really, really challenging sometimes just doing two podcasts in a row time wise.
yeah,
And so like us doing it Wednesday now is so much better. Like for me, it's like
yeah,
I get that buffer day in between to sort of like just
mm,
recover and recharge, and then and then I come back and I'm good to go. I've got the energy.
mm,
So yeah, having those buffer days helps, man, bloody well helps a whole lot.
mm,
So yeah, like right now it's good. Speaking of buffers and all that kind of stuff,
yeah.
you
What
know,
about you then?
with regards to my week,
Yeah, exactly.
it's basically just been an average week, bro. Like
Yeah,
nothing really special happened this week, to be honest. I can't. If I'm forgetting something, I am. That's basically it, because I can't remember. I can't think of anything that has happened this week that I'm just like, oh my god, this was a highlight of the week and something like that. I just can't. It's just,
mm,
the main thing I've been thinking about is my sister coming to visit. That's mainly it.
yeah, right.
Everything else has been the regular standard status quo.
Mm.
What I want to speak about, which is a highlight for me, is a game that I jumped on this week on. It's what I
Ah,
mentioned to you. It's on Xbox Live,
mm-hmm.
and it's also it's on Game Pass, and it's also on PC. So I played it on the Xbox. It's a game called Hi-Fi Rush.
Oh, you
And
played it now.
yeah, I
Okay.
played it. Actually, the gameplay on the screen right now is the game at the moment right now that people are seeing first right
Yeah,
now
nice.
is Hi-Fi Rush, and I got that game the night it came out because I remember I didn't know that Microsoft was doing a press event. I was doing something and then I saw a notification. I think I was off my PC and then I sat on by the PC, turned it on, checked some emails and some other stuff, and I realized, holy crap, Microsoft's doing a press conference. So I jump in the press conference, start watching, and as I'm in there, the footage on the screen is Hi-Fi Rush, and I'm like, "Ooh, this looks interesting." But usually when you watch a press event, you watch the press event and you're just thinking like, okay, I'll play this in a couple months or something like that, or
Mhm.
when it comes out, let me just see what the release date is and what platform it's on or whatever have you.
Yeah, yeah.
And it ended the game, the sort of like presentation they were doing for Hi-Fi Rush ended, and they were like, oh, and you can get the game tonight, like right after the show. I was like, you
Mm.
kidding me? Man, I waited for the end of the show and I just I went on my Xbox, started playing eFootball. I was like, as soon as it drops, I'm gonna have that shit downloaded and ready to go. So it came, I downloaded it, I started playing it that night. I think I played way into the night playing Hi-Fi Rush, and it's such a good game. It's I guess the best example to give, it's sort of like Devil May Cry meets a rhythm game. And because like in Devil May Cry, you basically have it's an action game where you have to
Yeah.
do skilled fighting and stuff like that. You have to use special skills and you know get combos and all that kind of stuff, and you get like a score meter.
Yeah.
Try to get S, or I don't know if there's anything higher than S. I'm assuming there's like a SS. I've never got that.
Mhm.
But yeah, you basically try to get the best score you can get in the level. Try to complete it quickly, but also be stylish and all that kind of stuff, and hit on the beat. But the way the game works is that you will always attack on the beat. Like the music is playing, and the whole world is reacting to the beat. So the enemies, the background, your attacks, everything happens on beat. But if you time your attacks exactly when, like, you press the button for the attacks exactly when the beat is playing, what would happen is you get a much stronger attack or more effective attack. So that's
Mm.
kind of how the game works. It's strange to describe, like when like someone telling you about how Hi-Fi Rush plays is not the same as you playing Hi-Fi Rush. It's one of those things that you kind of have
Yeah.
to experience for yourself, and it's one of those games as well that you have to give a solid try, because I know some people, like, they'll jump in a game and it's a bit difficult or a bit unique to them, and they'll just
Mm.
play a little bit and then they're just like they're done. With
Mm.
Hi-Fi Rush, it's one of those where you literally have to give it a solid old try because
Yeah.
it is so unique. But when you jump in, it's so fun. The voice acting is so good, and
Mm.
one of the things as well, this is a game that was shadow launch. No one knew really that it was coming out and all that kind of stuff, but it's such a good game. And I
Mm.
think especially when you consider some of the games that have been hyped up so much by bigger developers, and you have a lot of press fits and stuff like that. Let's take for example like a game like Forspoken. This game just blew it out of those sort of stuff out of the water. It's just such a better game, and a more polished product and more likable product in some ways or the other. This is not to say that Forspoken isn't likable. I'm sure some people. I've seen people on Twitter liking it, but when you look at the broader scope of people, Forspoken has actually done worse. In like with regards to people actually liking it, essentially. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
that's.
it's so cool. I mean,
Mhm,
I just want to mention that this for those that are listening, that uh, since I streamed on Sunday and you joined in because we were playing some Dead by Daylight again with some other
mhm,
people a long time ago, which was fun. And
mhm,
then you started to talk about this, and the funny thing is that, as I mentioned when I was streaming, or we were
mhm,
streaming, that just a few hours before that, Adam
mhm,
sent on Discord, you better check out this game, and it was exactly the
mhm.
game you're talking about. And fun fact is also it's made by the developers that made Evil Within, which is
Yes.
for people that are playing like horror games, which I
Mhm.
do, quite known like franchise. It was two games that was really good. So it's kind of interesting, and it's been a bit under the radar. I think they haven't really been like marketing this game so
They
hard.
didn't. It was a shadow launch. Literally, they literally
Yeah.
mentioned it the night because I think they kept it secret. They tried to keep it a
Yeah.
secret as much.
Right.
And the
Which is
night
hard.
of
Yeah.
is when they announced is when they put out. I guess they pulled an Apple trick, like,
Hmm.
and you can get it now. You know, kind of. Like,
That is so cool. Yeah.
it was cool. It was super cool,
Mm.
and it's doing so well. Like people, it's got really good reception pretty much
Mm.
everywhere. Because
Okay.
obviously you can get
Good.
it on the PC and the Xbox. It's
Yeah.
got a
Right.
10 out, it's got 10 out of 10 on Steam. Like literally everyone likes it on Steam. Everyone who's got this game,
Good to hear.
it's
Yeah.
basically just overwhelmingly positive. 98% of people love this game that are playing it right now. Right, which is insane. And price wise, it's also really well priced. It's like 26.99
Yeah.
pounds right now for the game, which is amazing. You know, it's amazing that it's
Yes.
priced so well. It's
Mm.
also Steam Deck verified. So for those who have Steam Decks, I don't happen to be one of you. Like, but man, I wish I was to play this on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
It is also Steam Deck verified. It has achievements. It has full control support. It has Steam trading cards, which I love collecting trading cards. But I don't have it on Steam though. I have it on Game Pass, so I don't have any trading cards from it. It's got Steam Cloud, of course, and caption available. I believe it also has language support for quite a few languages, which also
Yeah.
surprised me when I saw it. I was like, holy crap! It's got full language support for. And I'm gonna try to read off these as quickly as possible. It's got English, French, Italian, German, Spanish, Spain Spanish. I'm
Oh.
talking about Latin American Spanish, Brazilian,
Mm-hmm.
Polish, and Japanese. These are all fully voiced in the game. Keeping in mind, this is a shadow launch game that's selling
Yeah.
for 26.99,
Yeah.
and we had no idea it was coming out, and it's got
Yeah.
language support for all of them voiced.
That's awesome.
It is super awesome. It's got subtitling for a couple other languages though, so it's got subtitling
Yeah.
for Arabic, Arabic, Russian, simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese, and Korean. These are the languages that they don't have full voice acting for, but they still have subtitles. All the languages that they have full voice for also has subs as well for those who want subtitles in case they need them.
Wow.
So yeah, it is good. Peggy 12, so
Great.
good age group for this. I would even say you could have kids under 12 play this. Like it's good. Like 8 is fine.
Yeah,
And
probably.
just like I remember when Forspoken was announced. I remember there was this whole thing about the amount of graphics you're gonna have to have and just the resources, the amount of RAM it needed. You know, like 32 gig standard. Like yeah, you needed to play this damn game. In contrast to that, you look at Hi-Fi Rush, which runs with 8 gigs of RAM. That's minimum. You know, you could run this on a Ryzen 3 1200, you know, or an i5 5600, and your graphics card could be a GTX 1050 or RX 560. Like that's your minimum requirements for to run this game. Of course, recommended is a bit higher. So you have a 2070 or RX 6600. Or the Arc A750, and you're looking at for processor, you're looking at an i7 6700 or Ryzen 5 1500X, which again, if you even just consider the Ryzen 5 1500X and the RX 6600, these are very affordable, like parts for your PC, you know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need a lot to play this game. It just and it runs like butter, man. It looks good. It plays good. It's the voice acting is amazing. The characters are likable. Like I'm just literally like I'm playing and I'm just laughing and enjoying the whole whimsicalness of it all and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, high recommendation from me for Hi-Fi Rush. I think it's I think it's one of those that I think people shouldn't sleep on. They should just get it, jump in. I hope you jump on it soon enough,
Yeah.
Raj. Like you need to get in there and try it
I
out.
will most likely try it, definitely. It's cool once again. First off, just great to hear that you're enjoying it, and it's as you said, it's got like good reviews and stuff. So and also coming like that under the radar, like shadowed and everything, it's super cool. I think that's great to see that can happen still. Also, when we've had a lot of games, I guess in our in our genres of choice that has been a bit disappointing from time to time. So yeah, it's cool. It's really
Speaking
fun.
of disappointment with games,
Yeah.
Have you been disappointed by the game you've been playing? Because it is on a device that I've never heard you talk about playing before. Like I've never heard you play it
Oh, really?
on this
Yeah.
particular device, really. So
Mm,
I'm curious. Has it been
yeah, yeah.
disappointing going from high resolution PC Master Race quality to I guess there's only one way I can say this: mobile pleb shit. You know.
The short answer is no, actually, and
uh-huh.
there's reasons for that.
Uh-huh.
And what Q is referring to is me going back. Yes, I have talked about it, but it was way some time ago,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a year ago. I have been playing a mobile game, the Call of Duty mobile game,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason why I did this was, well, two. I needed to play something else for a second or two, and also I wanted to go back and see how it plays. Because this is one of the most downloaded mobile games ever. It's millions and millions of people playing the game. When it comes to FPS games, and especially if you think about the battle royale aspect of it, since it also has
Mm-hmm.
Warzone, then it has a clear lead over PUBG, and Fortnite is quite far behind on third place. Uh, but okay, so the game then. Well, first off, the one of the reasons also that I, as a like FPS gamer, and also mostly like 99% I do play apparently on PC. That's my platform. Well, that's the has to do with all the content available in the game, and it's literally because if you're playing like a fully licensed like the Activision game, as I'm doing like with Modern Warfare 2 2022, then it's Infinity Ward that is behind the game, and it means that you will play Infinity Ward maps, basta, nothing else, right? But
Mm-hmm.
in this game, they have everything. They have all the good maps that Infinity Ward and Treyarch have done, all the same when it comes to the weapons. So it's like a lot of maps from the good old Call of Duties,
Mm-hmm.
back in the days, in a rotation, in also a lot of game modes.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of events going on, amazing camos. I would say some I've seen even better camos than like in the full blown AAA game, and it's I've seen other YouTubers actually recently also talked about it, and it's yeah, and then you start to wonder, okay, so I have tried to play this on mobile, but I mean I'm not a mobile gamer, and I did okay, but I don't want to put down the time to actually play it like that on a mobile. It's not my thing. So what did I do? Well, I used Game Loop, which is a emulator for
Mm-hmm.
PC, and it has a lot of games there. If you're interested, probably in other genres of choice as well, if you want to play like an RPG or something. But it works really well, actually. Sure, there's some flaws now and then, and you have to do some tweaking with the settings, but it plays really good. So I can sit and play with keyboard and mouse. It actually feels, of course, as if I'm cheating to a certain extent, because I mean,
Everyone's playing touch control and you're playing with
yeah,
better controls.
the thing though is that the game is smart enough to actually recognize that, okay, this guy is playing with a device, some kind of device, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
through the and that also goes for people that are playing, because there's quite a few people playing on controller, on like putting a controller in the mobile. so with that said, how they do that, I'm not sure if they're using the emulator. Okay, whatever. It means that it kind of detects that, so it should be able to match you against people with the same kind of devices or in circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
which I kind of reckon later, because in the beginning, well, I mean, I do very well when I play like this. It's like, okay, another nuke. Okay, here we go. But I've put some time into ranked and played ranked up to, I think I have Elite 4 or something, which is at least quite high. And then you start to see that, okay, there's actually more, you know, some skilled players here, and
Mm-hmm.
you meet better resistance. So it starts to become like something that I'm more used to, like playing the regular games or other FPS games in that
Mm-hmm.
sense. But again, and actually, it doesn't look that bad. I am playing. I don't know. I think I have the graphics on medium because I want to be able to max out the FPS.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually it doesn't look that it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look great either, but it's actually okay.
So wait,
Uh,
your PC isn't capable of running it on max settings without affecting the FPS?
I can't. Well, not many people can do that. Even if you have a great rig, it's mostly if you check out like tutorials when playing with Game Loop and especially playing Call of Duty Mobile. Most people recommend you not to push too high because I don't know. It's probably because you're using the emulator, I guess. But
Oh.
I've just seen a sweet spot when I have like medium graphics and then put up like the FPS on the highest. Then I get the best out of it. I reach a kind of sweet spot between
Mm-hmm.
the look of the game and performance, if I put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday I was streaming with a follower of mine, Joe, from Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and we played mostly Warzone actually,
Mm-hmm.
which is also playing well. You know, it's amazing to see how the development has gone forward over the years, and also with the game. This game was released in 2019
Mm-hmm.
and it sold very well already from the start. I think just in December 2022, I think there was like 100 million downloads. You know,
Wow.
it's insane. It's like it's like a parallel world, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to what we're doing, mostly playing like on PC or on console.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun. I don't know. It's not a game I will of course will like put down hour after hour and grinding but it's great fun to get in now and then and just play and have fun, and
Mm-hmm.
it's possible also since it's legit to use the game loop emulator.
It's not
uh
like a hack or anything like that.
no, absolutely not. it's it's
Mm.
it's uh, it's legit. So yeah, there you go.
Sounds
That's what
good.
I've been trying out. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, like I was surprised that you were playing. When I saw you were playing a mobile game, I was a bit surprised, a bit
Yeah.
shocked. But
Yeah.
knowing that it is good, that you are
Yeah,
enjoying
it
it and all
is.
that kind of stuff, that's comforting,
Yeah.
I guess, to say
I
the
I
least.
mean, I have to say, yeah, I just want to take it there again because I mean, if you would have asked me for like 3, 4 years ago, I I would probably, nah, I'll never play something like that.
It's kind of like
But
me
then,
now.
yeah, but then it came out like 2019, and I did a video. Was it 2020 or something, or even maybe did
Mm-hmm.
I check it out last year also? I don't remember. I tend to do that, like a series on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's something different now. It is because it has, there. It's possible now to have like everything that the full game has,
Mm-hmm.
with and plus more, since I mentioned even more maps, more content. I think
Mm-hmm.
here you can see a perfect example of what happens when you also do something right.
Mm-hmm.
You like, because right now, for example, as mentioned with Modern Warfare 2 2022, that was released at the end of last year, like in November. It's quite stale right now. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
is waiting for season 2 that was also delayed. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
come now in the middle of February instead, and it's nothing really to play for. So it's and that's a dangerous path when those kind of things starts to occur, because I've seen it so many times over and over again. I mean, they lost players already after like the last initiating weeks after launch,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of normal. That happens, but it was quite a dip, and there's a lot of players that have left the game for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's important to have that roadmap clear when you do a launch. You got to be sure that, okay, here comes the first new map, here's like the next skin, here's the whatever you're doing there. You got to be really take that very seriously as a developer,
Yeah, I
um,
understand.
because
Um,
that keeps the interest for people that are putting like a lot of hours in the game. It's one thing if you just the casual gamer logging into a specific game like once or twice a week. That's a
mhm.
whole different thing, because you don't see the same, like, how should I say, or you don't need, but you don't see either the differences in the same way. But if you're
Mhm.
playing like almost every day, then things, that's got to be something happening, like
Yeah.
something new.
Definitely, definitely,
So,
definitely. For some,
mm,
yes, there's a weird thing though. That I'm noticing while you're like for a split second, I did not pay attention to what you were saying. I have to be honest.
yeah, it's okay.
Because there's something weird going on. Like I'm looking at the footage I'm seeing on OBS,
Mm,
and I'm looking at the footage that I'm seeing on live that we're streaming, and it seems like
yeah.
the live footage is way behind OBS, like
Uh-huh.
way.
Oh,
So I mean, it looks smooth. It doesn't look like there's any lag or anything like that. Any
no, no,
so that,
okay.
but then at the same time, I'm seeing. I think it's just the preview, because I'm looking at the preview through the studio app, and I think the preview is behind what we're at right now. I'm not sure why.
Okay.
So fingers
It's
crossed.
a
It's just
heavier
the.
latency, maybe. Yeah.
It's weird. It's like because I'm looking at the footage in the preview and I'm like, wow, this is so behind. But then I look at the stream and it looks fine. Like I just pulled it up on my phone. It looks fine. So I'm like, okay, well, I think it's just this previews because it's been bugging me for a while. I'm like, why does why are the two images different? What's going on here? You know?
Yeah, right. Okay.
So yeah, I was just wondering if like when we end, like how long am I gonna have to wait before I click end the stream or something like that. Anywho's it. I
Yeah.
did miss the last bit of what you were saying. Like I partially missed the last bit what
Yeah,
you were saying about
it's
the game.
perfectly fine.
But I'm sure the listeners got it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's what's most important at the end of the day. I think what's also important is the stuff that we've been doing together, right? We both played
Exactly.
some Dead by Daylight again.
Mhm.
And it's kind of sort of like a rite of passage for us kind of thing. Like we do it every new update, we jump into Dead by Daylight.
Mm.
And so you hit me up, you're like, bro, like, do you want to join me for Dead by Daylight? And I was like, I think this was after last podcast, and I was like, yeah, like just remind me on the day and I'll see what's going on. And you did. You hit me up, and I was in, and we had some Dead by Daylight goodness, and it was
Indeed.
as features pretty good. I didn't stay the whole thing. I think I left maybe the last or second to last match of it. I think I had to step out. Excuse me, for dinner.
Yeah, you needed to eat.
Yeah, I had to have dinner, so I had to step out. But it was brilliant though. Like it was good jumping in,
Yeah.
and I'm playing, just just running around and surviving and messing with each other and all that kind of stuff. Dead by
Yeah.
Daylight is good. It's really
Yeah.
good. I think it's one of those games that it's not perfect, which nothing is, but it's one of those
Yeah,
games
but
that
but
has.
in the genre, and I think as Sandro said, and I want to give a shout out to both Sandro and Crazy Suit Walking also for playing with us, because it has to be said to the listeners that we didn't play like like excuse me. I should say this: we played custom games or custom
Yeah.
matches. So it was me, you, and mentioned Sandro and Crazy. So we were four, and we took turns when it comes to being a killer or survivor. And I
Hmm.
think the good twist here, sorry, I don't know why I'm coughing so much. I gotta drink.
Hmm.
Is that we're all in Discord. So when, for example, I am playing as the killer and you guys are survivors, I can talk to you, but I
Hmm.
can't hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I'm muted in that sense. But out in the stream, of course, everyone can hear everything.
Hmm.
And I think that puts an extra kind of thing to it because, I mean, if you are survivors, you can still talk to each other and whatever. Oh, we're going there, or I'm hiding here, or something like that. And I
Hmm.
won't be able to hear that, but I can still like, I see you or something. I can do my shit. And one guy that is definitely really good at that and has to be mentioned, getting into the role of the character, is Sandro.
Yes,
He's been
Andrew's
playing
really
a lot of
good.
Dead by Daylight. Yeah, and he's doing a great Michael Myers. Uh, where he, if you've seen the horror movies like
Hmm.
Halloween and you know Michael Myers,
Hmm.
that's exactly how he's doing it. It's like,
Yeah, he does it so well. He'll be like,
yeah.
Roger.
Yeah, it's
It's
just and
so
just all of a sudden he's standing there looking at you through a
yeah.
window or something. It's like, oh shit.
Sometimes you're
But
just healing someone and he's just standing there looking at you, and it's just like, oh
mhm.
come on, like. Honestly, playing against him on the enclosed maps, like inside the mental asylum place or whatever. Oh,
Yeah,
man, that is challenging.
yeah,
That is
it is. It
proper
is.
challenging.
It is.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, good.
the Badillas is good to get in every now and then and just hop back
Mm.
in and have a good fun. I think the good thing as well for those who may want to hop into it, it's got cross-platform play, so you don't even need to
Yes.
worry about what platforms your friends or whoever else is on. You could play with them no matter what. So that's
Mm.
also really, really good as well. But I think moving on, I think we should talk about what we've been watching, and I think the good thing now is that for the first time in a long time, we are finally back to watching the same thing. You know, because
Yes.
usually we're watching different things on a week to week, but it's been a while since we've been watching the same thing while at the same time essentially, and that being The Last of Us. You know, new episode came
Yes.
out. Saw it last night, and it was interesting. I want to hear your opinion on the new episode. Because I know
Yeah,
you've
sure.
watched it with the family.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm curious. What did you think of it?
Yeah, we're talking about the third episode now in the Last of Us series on HBO Max, and I mean, I've played the game. I know that you've watched a live stream when it comes to the game,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where they go a bit on the side of things. I mean, they haven't like added the characters are there, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
they took their liberty to tell the story that partly it's like not fully in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes that can become wrong or annoying, especially if you've read the book that they're making the film upon, or in this case, the playing the game that they you know apparently making the series about.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it really worked. I was a bit taken. I think this was really a beautiful, but also sad story being told.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, it showed really once again how well produced
Mm-hmm.
and directed this series is. And I think it's going to rain some Emmys or stuff on this. You know,
Yeah.
it's. And again, it's gonna be spoilers, so I think we've said that.
Yeah, definitely. Spoiler alert
It's
if
yeah, it's this prepper, doomsday prepper named Bill, which has
mm-hmm.
a part in the game, and he's doing almost everything to survive, and talking about building up a fence, electrified fence around a part of the place or village, whatever, where he lives and alone. And long story short, he meets this man coming, into the area more or less, or fall into one of his traps.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a man called Frank, and he's looking for his way to, is it Boston or
Yeah, he said he was going to
Yeah,
Boston.
yeah. But they actually get into the house because he feels, I guess Bill here feels sorry for Frank, and
It's
he
actually because
make
Frank begged him to, because
yeah,
he was
true,
hungry and he was out. He begged
yeah.
him to take him in when, because Bill was like, "Look,
So
just get going, like get out of here."
yeah,
And
so they eat, and there is a very touching moment by the piano
mm-hmm.
in the living room, where there's story there as like the Linda Ronstadt's aching ballad "Long Long Time," as they're trying to play both of them in different versions, kind of opens up their minds, especially Bill's. That is a bit like grumpy, you know. So they fall in love. They find each other. They fall in love. They make love. They start to live their this post-apocalyptic life together,
Mm-hmm.
and so we follow them through like 2 decades of love in this Massachusetts part of the US, and it's it's really beautiful, and we get to know, of course, how also Joel and Tess gets in contact with them, or the opposite around. It shows up that Frank, that comes to Bill, is the
Mm-hmm.
one that is talking, or like to Tess,
Mm-hmm.
using the comm radio and the codes and everything. So that's him. And Bill is, of course, first like, oh, I don't want this collaboration, or he's afraid. He's very protective, and and then things, yeah, time pass, and there's a point of time where, yeah, well, at the end, if we jump to the end, I mean, of course they get attacked too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a scene though that I just feel that, holy shit, those raiders were stupid. uh they got
I don't think
really
they would have been expecting something like that as well either.
no.
Like I think especially the way in which Frank set up his traps.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bill set up his traps. It was genius. Like he had some really good
Yeah,
traps
yeah.
set up in such a way that
It was good.
anyone coming was gonna get, like, it didn't matter. You were
Yeah,
gonna lose.
barbecued or electrified, because the fence is electrified, and
Mm-hmm.
as your point towards, there was like these flamethrowers more or less, because it
Mm-hmm.
connected to. That's the funny thing, because when people left the city,
Mm-hmm.
if we go back a bit, he stayed in his house and he just went out. He put his like big boat on a trailer on the back of his like pickup, and
Mm-hmm.
went into the small community or city and started to get things. Like, it was so organized. He knew
Mm-hmm.
exactly what he needed, he wanted, and then started to build, as mentioned, the defense, but also these gas-driven like flamethrowers that could, and traps all over the
Mm-hmm.
place. It's kind of genius in a way, as you say. But even so, later, yeah, they're getting older, and Frank, he got ill, and he was eventually in a wheelchair, and it came to a point where he just, he didn't want to go on.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to die,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very touching. I mean, the last dinner they had, where Bill had promised to put the overdose of medicine or whatever drug it was
Mm-hmm.
in the wine glass, into Frank's wine glass. Oh my God! And then it's when he started to drink. He also understood that, well, that was not the whole thing, because Bill had actually put pills in the whole bottle, so he had also been drinking the same drug. So they were both gonna die.
I think
So
the thing for me and the episode as well is that I think in some ways I view some of it a bit differently than you. For example, I found Frank a bit pushy. And this is despite the fact that I did like the episode. I did think it was an enjoyable episode and all that kind of stuff. And I felt, I think the way I described it to a friend of mine after was that it really humanized it really humanized Joel a lot, because it showed
mm,
that despite the fact that, because in the first two episodes so far we've seen of Joel, we've just seen him being gruff and stuff like that. Outside of like him being
yes,
with his daughter, which we saw briefly of at the beginning, he's just
mm,
being like bitter and all that kind of stuff. And it just showed a really human side to him, and that he actually
it's
still
true.
cares about people.
Yeah.
Like his reaction to the situation with Frank and Bill, as well as to him actually, I guess, processing what happened to Tess as well, from last
Yes.
episode. So
Yeah.
it was really nice to see that from him as well.
That's
But
true.
I found Frank so pushy. Like at the beginning, when Bill is like, I don't want anyone, and like go on, run on, and Frank is like, but can I just like get a meal or something? And like really pushy. And then when they get to the house, and he wants to play on the piano, and Frank Bill is kind of like nah, it's my mother's piano, or like don't know. And he's just sort of like, yeah, just let me just one song, everything with him is always like just one more, let me just have one of this, please, like let me have it now, and then I'll get out of your skin. And it just sort of like plays off like that. Granted, I kind of saw the whole relationship between the two of them happening from the minute that that Frank was in the shower, when he was having that shower, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way Bill came in with the clothes and everything, I was like, oh, they're gonna be a thing, like I saw that already, just from that scene. I was like, yep,
Yeah.
that's basically what's
Mm.
gonna happen here. And then I think the thing with Frank as well that I found a bit, again, really like pushy for me is like when he wanted to trade with Joel and Tess, and Frank was like, no, we don't need anyone, we got everything we need, blah blah blah, and that kind of stuff. And then you have a situation where Frank is like, look, I never asked for anything, I just I need this, and I need to paint some stuff, and I need to do that, and all this sort of thing. And the other thing is that I think with the whole him, well, basically Bill crushing the pills up for him and putting it in the wine, like Bill said he didn't want to do it. He said he didn't feel comfortable doing it and all that kind of stuff. And Frank pushed him. He was pushy. He was like, look, I need this. Like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I want to just like end it all, la di da, and so forth. And then when Bill himself made, so this was a decision that Bill wasn't comfortable with, but Bill went along with. You know, they got married at the end. They had the thing. They had a nice dinner. It was sweet, and then they were supposed to go to bed. But then when Bill realized that when Frank realized that Bill put it in his drink as well, Frank says to him, and I quote, "I don't feel comfortable with this, but it's romantic." And I'm like, how? In my mind, I was like, how dare you, right? You're the one telling him to do something that he's not comfortable with, and he has to do it because, you know, that's what you want. And then him, you know, offing himself because, you know, he doesn't want to live without you, you know, because you're his only purpose in life to live anymore. You're like, oh, I don't feel comfortable with this. I was like, how dare you, Frank? How dare you? Right?
Well, yeah,
I found Frank a bit pushy.
Yeah, that's their characters. I didn't. I hear what you're saying, and of course I noticed that as well. But even so, the whole, and that this is also the point where I need to get in a bit regarding the game. You see, there are a few things here that didn't happen in the game.
Yeah, that didn't happen in the game.
No, it's this love story was quite cruelly denied in the video games. And there's reasons for that. For example, an event like this, like the same-sex marriage, wasn't legal in Massachusetts until 2004. So I'm not sure what kind of politics comes in there when it comes to also the game or whatever, you know, but it didn't happen.
Wasn't Ellie in the games? Wasn't she in a Ellie wasn't a same-sex relationship in the games though. Spoilers, by the way, for people.
No, but the thing is, so exactly no, yeah, since they got married, you know, everything, and that didn't happen in the game apparently. But what did happen in the game is that Ellie met Bill, and there's quite a few fun or interesting dialogues between Ellie and Bill in the game, which didn't happen here apparently, because at the point of time when like up to date then towards the end of this episode, when Joel and Ellie comes around, it's too late. I mean, that's after like probably days or almost weeks or whatever after Bill and Frank has left the earth. So yeah, it's so all they can do is of course getting a bit, as you said, showing a much more human side of Joel as well. Like he really needed to get out there and breathe a bit when he also Ellie read the letter for him from Bill, you know, and he said, Bill wrote in the letter, Joel, I've never really liked you, but I think you're good and everything, and I respect you.
That was really nice.
Yeah, and I respect you, and please make sure that you take care of Tess, you know. And that was a bit too much for him.
That's basically what I was referring to when I said like like it really humanized it really humanized what do you call it, Joel, because you got to see him deal with the circumstance of what happened with Tess, because when it happened, like he just sort of like just kept going. He just continued on with Ellie. You know, he grabbed her. He sort of screamed out. He grabbed her and he ran. And you know, just the way in which Tess goes out, it was really tough watching that scene. You know, it was quite the scene. Despite the fact you know it's coming, it's so like, you know, like it's like, man, like that's.
But also, I think since most of the time spent in last episode was the focus on Bill and Frank, but even so, we saw a bit of the conversation, of course, you know, between Ellie and Joel. You know, walking the forest, taking a small break. He threw some dried meat or whatever it is to her, and you can see that they're slowly starting to get closer to each other.
Yeah, I think you can see
it starts to open up slowly, and I mean, even though that Joel was pretty clear back to Ellie saying that don't ever mention like Tess, you know, he
don't
not
talk about
want
it.
to talk about it now. But even I think it's these small things that are starting to, you know, make them get closer to each other. Not only the mission. She's not only the package for him any longer.
I think that happened. I think she stops being the package when he reads the letter from Bill. I think that's when she stops
Yeah.
being the package. I think prior to that, she was just the package because there's that moment where he finds the battery and everything like that, and
Mm.
he could have easily said to her like, piss off. I've got everything I actually need from this.
Yeah.
And he says, okay, I'm gonna take you with me. We're gonna go get my brother, and he'll be able to hook you up with whatever you need to get.
Exactly. It's his brother time now, and it's also a kind of a funny scene when they're leaving, like Bill's and Frank's house, and they've stacked up and got some stuff with them, taking the big pickup and everything, and she's like the fact that she's sitting in a car for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Joe, like, you got to fasten the seatbelt, and she's, oh wow, cool,
She doesn't know. It's. I think it's one of those things for people when you're accustomed to something and someone else who's not accustomed to it sees it for the first time. It's kind of like a kid, like a young kid.
Yeah.
Like when you introduce kids to like things that are so mundane to you, they're like, oh my god, this is so amazing. Like a kid seeing a drill or something, like a power drill, a hand drill, they'll be like, oh my god, this is so awesome. But an adult who's accustomed using a hand drill and everything, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna cut this thing. It's a drill, la-di-da, swiddle, nothing to it. But for a young kid, it's like, oh my god, it's a drill. Look at it, it's amazing. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it is one of those things where it's nice seeing Ellie. I think one of the scenes that really took me as well, that really drew me in, was the scene where Ellie basically says to him like, look, I understand where you're going through and all that kind of stuff, but keep in mind, you guys chose this job. I didn't no one forced you guys to take me anywhere. I had nothing to do with her dying. Like, don't blame me for it, And I felt that really stuck, like it was like, yeah, she needed to say it, She needed to let him know,
Yeah.
leveler, like we ain't got no time for this. Yeah,
Exactly.
but I have to
There's
say
also,
too. Mhm.
yeah, I just wanted to mention a detail that is quite beautiful, like film wise or whatever you say, directing wise. When they're leaving with the pickup and they drive out on the street and through the small place there, the camera is like rolling back. It goes back into the house and is filming them leaving through the bedroom where Frank and Bill is lying dead. But you
I
don't
was
see them.
wondering that, like,
You don't see them, but it is that perspective. And the interesting thing is, if you have played the first game, that's actually the loading screen for The Last of Us, an open window, much like the one in Bill and Frank's bedroom. So it kind of connects.
The thing though is, I wonder if that's their bedroom in the first place, because here's the reason why. That room is upstairs in the house.
Yeah, true. Okay, fair
Bill
enough.
and Frank were downstairs.
They went downstairs.
So I'm wondering
from the entrance. If you go into the entrance,
yeah, you go from the entrance and you go to the back, because when Frank was when Frank got that disease or whatever that he had that took away his mobility, I was wondering to myself, how does Bill carry him up the stairs? Like, that's what I was thinking, right? Because I figured, the rooms are upstairs or something.
Oh yeah, so this is how it is. It was the bedroom. That was the original where they were, when they made love up there. Exactly. But it's true. The last thing they did go. They were downstairs when they actually had the last dinner and both got poison or whatever you want to call it.
They went kapoots.
Kapoots. So it's true. Yeah, I know it's true. So it was like their bedroom, but I guess they didn't really sleep that any longer after, as you say, when Frank lost his mobility and was sitting in a wheelchair. So, but even so, it's a beautiful kind of connecting thing, like with the game. Ending like that with the open window, like the curtains like blowing with the wind a bit, and the loading screen had the same kind of feature.
It was a beautiful story, beautiful ending, that kind of stuff. It was, I just like, when I watched it, I was like, this was a good episode. At first I wasn't sure what when I saw the episode and they sort of and I think some of the episodes were spoiled for me by people because I heard people talk about it, and then
Oh, okay.
like I
That's
was like, so
unfortunate.
I didn't I didn't know exactly the whole thing, but they were like, I heard some people saying like, oh, why did they spend a whole episode focusing on other people instead of Ellie and Joel? Like, I think someone mentioned something like that. I was like, oh bloody hell, it's gonna be about someone else. And then I was strangely surprised that I enjoyed it. I was like, I was expecting to like not be so into this episode because it wasn't gonna be focused on Ellie and Joel, but I wasn't bothered by it. I was like, this is good. Like especially because it connects to Ellie and Joel, or at least Joel and Tess, more so, easily, because they are part of that story as it goes along. So yeah, it was a good episode. I am still enjoying the show. I'm still waiting for the next episode to come. Yeah, it's been good to find. Ellie has a gun now, so yeah.
exactly that too.
Oh, so yeah, but Joel doesn't know, so don't tell him. That's between us.
Secret.
So yeah, that was The Last of Us, episode 3, the HBO series. It's going good so far. I think we're both enjoying it, and I think it's good to go. I think. Anything else to add to it, Raj, or should we move on?
I think we should move on. I think that was the gist of it.
That was just enough. That pretty much covered everything. All right, Raj. There's a thing that we usually do right about now. What's that thing called?
Shout out for your podcast.
Shout out for your podcast. This week I'm gonna actually mention some this week. I think I should. I'm not gonna be able to. I'm not gonna send you anything to read, Raj, but I'm just gonna.
It's fine.
Gonna mention the podcast because it's something that we have spoken about before. And that's ESPN FC. I've been listening to a lot of ESPN FC to sleep at night. Actually, I've been putting it on and going to sleep to ESPN FC. I don't make it through the whole episode, obviously, because it's just to lull me to sleep. And it is a football podcast. That I listen to, if you follow football, or soccer for Americas, it's just a good podcast. They've been covering obviously stuff like the transfer window that's going on right now. It's got a nice round cast of pundits and journalists who make for a very interesting conversation and all that kind of stuff. And it is my bedtime podcast now. So I play it and I go to sleep. And I think that the reason why I played more instead of any other podcast is because most of my other podcasts I actually want to listen to, like to the entirety of it. And not that I don't want to listen to ESPN FC, but the stuff that they talk about it's just football, like I'll hear about it in the news anyway. So it's sort of like if I fall asleep during it, I'm not gonna like lose anything from it. Whereas some of the other podcasts I listen to, it's sort of like informative podcasts. So I kind of want to hear all the information. Or just the enjoyment of it all. So I don't know if anyone listens to our podcast when you're going to bed. Hopefully not. Hopefully you like listening to us all throughout. But if you do, I think we'd both be interested to find out how you listen to the podcast. So feel free to leave a comment and all that kind of good stuff. So Raj, how about we get out of here?
Yeah. Time to move on. The day has started and everything that comes with it. Indeed. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed listening. As always, it's really nice to have you here. Felt good to talk about the things we talked about today. Some good gaming, as always. Well, it depends on what you like, but we're giving away some tips here for free. So pay attention. Attention, s'il vous plaît. And also, French. Yeah, mixing some languages. Why not? And of course, also, if you have the possibility to watch The Last of Us, we highly recommend it. It is a good series. Indeed, it is. So with that said, take care, stay healthy, game on, muffin and out.
Beautiful as always. And to add to that, if you want to watch Last of Us, it is on HBO Max here. Well, it's not, we don't have HBO Max in the UK. You'd have to get, I believe, a Sky or BT package to get HBO. It's like included in it. It's not HBO Max, but it's a HBO, which I've used it before and it's horrible. Like, like it's not. I use it. I think on my brother's account. My God, I think I did it for Game of Thrones, and because I wanted Alex to see Game of Thrones, and it was just so bad. Like trying to like find the episodes because it doesn't like remember where you left off in episodes, and it doesn't have like a nice list or something for you to see everything. It's like a really complicated way everything is on. It's cumbersome, right? Anyway, that being said, you can get it on HBO Max if you want to check it out. If you live in the UK, your options are limited. There are also alternative options, but
that's another story.
Oh, yeah, that's another story. So generally speaking, definitely check out The Last of Us. Worth your time. And if you want, you can. The game is available on PlayStation, and it will be coming out on PC, I believe, in March. It's coming. Last of Us is coming to PC, I think. So
it's a bit strange. They're making like a second remake.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty weird.
Isaac has been pretty not upset, but really like, why are they doing that?
It's just wasting time. I think and I'm wondering, especially because they do this again, I'm wondering what kind of changes are they going to make to the original as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm wondering if they're going to, because obviously, The Last of Us has a place in a lot of people's hearts because it's, it's one of those games that like it really hit home for a lot of people. So I wonder how much of it they're going to change or what they're going to change as it goes along. But hey, it is what it is. That being said, you can find Raj at 40 Splish Splash. That's number 40 with SPLISH, SPLASH. Pretty much everywhere. Your Twitters, your Instagrams, all that kind of stuff. And he streams on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and a Sunday. Is that correct?
Correct.
Ooh, beautiful. That's over on Twitch. If you want, by the way, you can go over on Twitch and find him at 40 Splish Splash. You can find him at Splish and Splash on YouTube, particularly Splish at the moment. You can go over and check out whatever videos he's got going on up there. Mostly first person shooters,
Yeah.
So yeah, you can find me at LP Garden. It's Garden Talk to you pretty much everywhere, so all the socials. And also on YouTube. You can also find me at Simply Binge streaming on a bloody hell, I forgot. Monday and a Thursday. Yes, that's it. That's correct. And as always, you can find everything else that we do on Simply Binge or at Simply Binge UK. So with that, guys, we wouldn't like you guys to miss on any of the episodes of That Beautiful Life podcast. Many beautiful people like to subscribe to this podcast on Castbox, Acast, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, simplybinge.com and elsewhere, and also YouTube, because we stream on YouTube now. And as always, we wouldn't, Frack, I forgot what I was supposed to say after that. What do I usually say?
We're so confident.
All right, perfect. Thank you. No one will ever notice this. And as always, it's a comment that you're going to like it, and we're giving it for free. So as always, guys, this has been queued for your pleasure. And it's a wrap. There's the episode. Ooh, it's so chilly. Let me end this.